Oh, yeah. Well, so yeah, a lot of Virgo organizational energy in my life. And
Lucky, 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 I wish.
yeah, sometimes, I love them, but let me rephrase
Uh,
feminine female Virgos. Anyone that has more of that feminine energy with them has a more way of approaching their Virgo-ness, I would say. Um,
uh,
my partner can be a bit harsh with the way that he delivers his help, and bless his heart, it always comes from a great place. But
yeah, you got some great support there, sister.
it's amazing. So I, and I reflect back when I looked at my birth, and it was like I gave birth at 38 weeks. Um, and I was one of those like had zero signs whatsoever. And then what I thought to be a Virgo, I feel like literally like kicked the bags of water open and was like, I'm a Leo, like I'm coming, and just
Oh,
fast and furious and intense. And I just went straight into active labor. And like,
you, you're that exception. You're like TV in a film.
I'm the TV. I heard it. Like I literally, it jolted me out of my sleep. I felt it. I heard it. I felt like I was just gutted. It was all the things that they say that it's not. And I tapped my partner. I was like, I think my water just broke, after nagging him the whole day before about all the things that needed to get done around the house for the birth, and him thinking we had all this time. And he was like, are you sure? And he just like kind of put his hand over the side of the bed and was like, oh my God. He's like, what do you think you should do? And I was like, can you get me a towel? I'd like to get out of bed right now. And so it was just we had this beautiful Leo child who is just, I mean, it was crazy. Birth was so intense. And I don't remember a whole lot about it because of the intensity and I was somewhere else. I was going to retrieve my baby, and
How long was your labor?
9 hours, start to
Yeah,
finish.
yeah. I mean, people always say, I want a fast labor, and I keep telling them, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's so intense.
It like people that talk about like knitting a sweater or something during early labor, or like curb walking, or like walking around the property. Like we literally moved to a lemon orchard that was 2.5 acres. So I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to be in labor, like walking around here. Like I could barely make it from the bed to the birth tub. Like it was crazy. So, yeah, Sayla, literally my labor was about as long as you were pushing for.
Yeah, as long as she said, as long as me
She
pushing.
pushed
Oh
for
my
8.5 hours. This woman is
a warrior goddess.
warrior, incredible goddess. And yeah, so I just remember looking at my doula and being like, pardon my French here, but I was just like, holy fuck, this is so painful. Like, what the fuck, and just like so deep in the throes of it. And she just was so calm sitting there, and she was just like, yeah, you're doing
Exactly.
it. And I was like,
Exactly.
no, I need everyone to like get to my level here, like height,
A panic.
And it was just so like my midwife, my doula, the midwife assistant, like everyone was just like, yeah, you're doing it. Like you were built for this. And I was like, oh my God. So we're just going to do this then. Like, and it was, I can't explain how helpful that presence was for me. And so,
Normalizing the experience for you, letting you know, okay, yeah, this is it.
yeah.
This is normal.
And
like this, Benita Applebaum says, I had 8 hours front and back labor, all natural. Yeah. So she feels your pain.
Yeah.
She knows exactly what you're
it's
saying.
just, I think for me, it was just that like being there and holding space for people and affirming people in what they're moving through is something that's always just come really natural to me. And going through that experience being like, oh, wow, like this is something that I could do. This could be a path. And prior to this, I've always been really drawn to mysticism. I do tarot readings. I love working with sacred geometry with my art. And, when I would do these tarot readings, especially during lockdown, my partner would always be like, you're like not doing a tarot reading. You realize that, right? It's like so much deeper what you do. And he's like, you got to call it something else. And I was like, I don't know. You know, the tarot is like, for me, it's just a language that helps me to break through to people, to, it's like that neutral force, where I can deliver questions and make people think, that come back to themselves. And that was a lot of what you taught us in class too. And it just really like aligned for me of like, wow, I can do this through the framework of birth. I can really, I think that it's asking questions. That was one of the most powerful, you know, things to be aware of when you're in conversation with someone. It's taking your ego out,
Mm-hmm.
your experience, your opinions, your preferences, and asking a question that helps them bring it closer. Because I can't answer anything for anybody.
Right.
I can only answer it for myself. And I think that that's always been like my perspective on doing tarot readings. And so
Mm-hmm.
the birth world, you know, I can't create a certain outcome for anybody. You know, my presence can help, and I've learned a lot from my first birth experience. And all I can do is continue to show up with people that want to be in partnership with me and that are willing to go deep. And that's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're a Scorpio, I've got my Scorpio rising. Like, that's, I don't do surface level. Like, it's just not in my existence. So I want to find people that are really willing to go deep and that really want to see the transformational side of pregnancy, because, and birth, because it affects your entire life after that.
Yeah. And you know, those people will find you
Yeah.
the same way you found me, because that's what I teach, and that's how I do my practice. So literally, I'm not for everybody, you know, and I'm very aware of that. So some people think they want me, and then we start working, and I'm not the perfect fit.
Yeah.
But I'm damn sure going to make sure they have the perfect fit, because I know a lot of people, and I refer a lot of people, you know, just because I want everybody to have the support they desire, they deserve it. And I want everybody to understand this work, this calling. I love it. I think it's one of the most profound professions to support birthing families in a transformative event called birth. You know, to own their rite of passage as they meet themselves and become the people that they desire to be. I just think it's the best thing ever. So I want to make sure that there's integrity in our field, that there's communication, there's no backbiting, no gossiping, no competition, none of that crap. I'm not here for it. I'm not down for it, and I will not tolerate it. So even if there's a lot of people, if I go someplace and there's people talking about people, I'm usually not going to stay there very long, because I just want us all to lift each other up. This is an amazing, incredible field, and we have to respect it, you know?
And I think that's what's so much, that's such a big part of what drew me to you. Um, you know, we started our training, my baby was 3 months old, you know, and so like practically it didn't make any sense to start that soon.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like there were so many things coming up for me around it, and as I looked into it more and more, I started learning about a lot of the problems in this field and a lot of the, you know, racial inequity
Mm-hmm.
of this specific industry, and how many white people are a huge problem in this. And so I didn't want to go into this field to perpetuate that. And so it was really important for me to learn from a strong Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I had these two trainings that I was considering, and yours kept coming up. And I didn't have the money. I didn't have anything. I made a few phone calls. I got the money and I did it. And I was just like, this is it. Like, I'm doing this. This is exactly who I want to learn from. And because I knew that there are so many people giving birth all over the world all
Mm-hmm.
the time. Um, I didn't have any like lack mentality. It's not a place for lack mentality, but a lot of people are so competitive. And like you said, I just want people to be happy. I want
Yeah.
people to have the support that they deserve. I want people to be with the people that are the right fit for them. Like,
Mhm.
I've gone my whole life not being the right fit for a lot of people.
Yeah, me too.
And that's okay with me. Like, I've gotten to,
Totally fine.
yeah, you're just like, that's fine. Like, I
Hmm.
don't take it personally
I
whatsoever.
don't either.
And that's been the coolest thing about even like doing interviews with people. I'm like, I absolutely love you. And I would, you know, if it's the right, if it's the right fit, I'm like, I would love to support you. But also, I'm happy to
It's
like,
really great to meet you.
yeah, keep me posted. If you like want to chat, you want to like share pictures of your baby, I'm here. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm
Hmm.
all for it. I have no qualms with who someone chooses or why they choose it. For
Me
me,
either.
I have a young child, and so I don't, it really has to be the best fit for me to spend
It's
time.
a vibe, it's just an energy thing because, everybody who's a doula or a birth worker or anything around that is just as skilled or as knowledgeable as we are. We're looking at a chat right now full of people who could support people. It is just a vibe thing, and it has to be the same vibe for both partners. If there's two, everybody's got to be feeling it.
That's what, you know, in my interviews, I let people know, like, I'm not the doula for you to do surface work. You know, if you want to go deep, if you want this to be a very transformational experience, like, I'll probably say some things that you're not going to be very comfortable with, maybe. And it's on purpose because I want you to feel uncomfortable and I want to bring up the things that maybe people aren't talking to you about because it all makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
It, in a birth outcome, but also beyond that, really in the postpartum stage. Um,
everything. I
I'm
mean, that's why I structured the training the way I did, because it is informing everything after that baby is born too. It makes a big difference. And yeah, I mean, I love that you like preface your whole consultation, your interviews with, you know, I don't even do that anymore. They just can tell
yeah,
whether or not in that meeting, from the things I'm asking and saying, they're like, ooh, she ain't playing.
and that's and some and a lot of the times what I've experienced is the partner's not ready for it,
Mm,
and that's okay. You know, it's like if they're not willing to show up, I can't give someone more than they're ready to receive because that's not going to feel good to me, based off how much energy
mm-hmm.
this work requires for me to out. Um, and so I just want it to be this like fair exchange where everybody knows what they're signing up for and like it wants it. Like I really want people to want it because I can't want it for them.
No. And that's something that, you know, doulas, midwives, just so many nurses, they understand that they can't want it more than that birthing family wants it, or more than the mama wants it, because we'll keep going, and we say, you can do it, you're doing it, you're doing great, let's let this one go. But if she calls it, if she says, that's it, I'm done, she has the right to,
And
and she has the right to not be judged about it.
yep.
But we also want to give her all the opportunity to show up past what she thinks her limit is, you know? And as long as she does that, as long as she feels like she gave it her all, that she's informed about everything, they usually are very satisfied, even if it wasn't the vision that they thought they were going to have. But if they gave it all they got and they were feeling good about their choices and everything, because it's not about what we think.
Yeah. And
We can just learn from it, though.
exactly. And I think that's, I mean, there's so much learning to continue to be had in this field. And I think that's something that's really exciting for me too, is that it's like I did this training with you and I feel so well prepared from the training that we did, but I still want to just keep learning
Oh, you're going to keep learning.
because it's
If
so,
you ever stop learning, let me tell you, it's
yeah,
done.
don't
It's finished.
exactly.
Because
But
we've
that's
got to keep honing things, keep getting different perspectives, keep learning, keep being open, keep stretching ourselves. I mean, otherwise, you know, we just become staid and archaic and just, you know, we're no
My
good.
first birth taught me so much, and it was unfortunately not a good experience for myself, and but more so for the birthing person. And it, man, it was really hard. And it took months to pretty much recover from it, and made me question all sorts of things of like, is this the path? And I think the really cool conclusion that like comes from it with some perspective and some like really deep work with myself is that I believe that I'm capable of going into those really deep, dark spaces with people. And you also in our training taught us tools with how to cope with these types of things, you know? And so
Yeah.
figuring a way to separate myself, to pull myself out of it, to be able to still support people that have gone through something that's really traumatic and realize it. I mean, oh my God, just the hospital system was just so crazy. And I wasn't prepared for that. I had specifically avoided it for my own birth, but there was a part of me that needed to be there and that needed to see it, you know, to fully grasp like what that experience is like. And yeah, I agree. There's so much healing and growth and learning that comes, I feel like, through every experience.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not always going to be fun and blissful and beautiful, but at the same time, we can look for those pieces that were really beautiful. We can celebrate those. We can honor, you know, honor what didn't go right, honor how that makes you feel, find a way to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure what did go right, you know, and what you can celebrate so that you don't just get lost.
Yeah.
Because I feel like birth impacts everything. And it stays with you. And the preparation too, you know, our class made me want to have a million babies just so I could like do it all over the college that I have, except I'm just a one and done, like shop's closed. It's not happening. But I mean, I would go through it all over again just to be able to prepare with the amazing tools that you've given us. And I think one of my biggest passions in what I'm doing right now is really, we talked about this, I think it was like the first module that we did, is keeping the couple together.
Period.
It is so hard. I mean, it is so hard to relate to another person when you are growing a human inside of you and they have no idea what that feels like, what that means, what you're going through, and it's not real for them sometimes until the birth happens. Yeah. And then they're like panicking in their own little world, so they can't quite get on to a level to have that kind of empathy that you're looking for, unless you really prepare well. And that was, you know, keeping those channels open of constantly communicating like sex and its importance. You know, the only person that told me that was important during my pregnancy was a former doula that we had spoken to when I was on bed rest with my threatened miscarriage and bleeding, terrified we're going to be able to continue this pregnancy. And she told me that just because I couldn't have sex, I could still give blowjobs. And I was so appalled because I was like, really? Like, that's the last thing, you know, and it wasn't trauma informed or anything like that. And it drove a huge wedge between my partner and I for the entire pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And we never addressed it. And we never got, you know, we never talked about that. And we've had to fight like hell to get back to a good place. And everyone thinks that their relationship is so solid heading into bringing a baby into the world.
But we all hear those stories about the first year after the birth of a child, what it does or can do.
Yeah.
To a relationship and marriage, things like that, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I address it. Like, no, like
And that's so
first
important.
class, first time,
Well,
first meeting.
like that's, you know, postpartum is something that sometimes people won't even bring up until you're hitting like 32 weeks, 36 weeks. Like, what's your plan for postpartum? You know, and you're like, that's what I love about you and the way that you instilled in us to make sure that's at the root of everything, is that you're looking at this as a holistic thing. It's not just about birthing a baby. It's about the well-being of the entire family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that changes how the baby's affected, how they grow up, the parenting styles, like the way that parents can talk about things ahead of time and get on the same page, have a plan for how they're going to navigate being sleep deprived together. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what's biologically normal for an infant. You know, it's people, I think you hear like, oh, you're not going to sleep or anything like that, but no one's like, it's really not normal for a baby to sleep very well. You know, no one really told me that.
Uh,
Or that, you know, just swaddle them, they'll be okay, stick a pacifier in and everything will be fine. You're like, okay, my baby doesn't want to be swaddled and won't take a pacifier. So, and I'm
now what?
not going to swaddle him, and you're just like, that none of that works. And yeah, so my passion really at this point is just supporting people through pregnancy, but not just for birth. You know, it's really looking at that holistic side of things, because what I had to do and what I've battled with postpartum depression, with, you know, figuring out how do I coexist with a partner that we were in like a fairy tale romance up until we got pregnant, you know, and then you're trying to figure out how to relate to another being. And that was really, really challenging and difficult for me. And I think going through your training, I learned so much that I was just like, God, I wish I could have done this all over again. I wish that all of this and how helpful that would have been being on the other side, so fresh on the other side of it. It was like, those were the missing pieces. That's what I needed. Like, I really wish I could have incorporated this into my time of planning. And so it's so special. All the beautiful wisdom that you shared with us in class, so graciously, is the biggest gift you can give to any couple going
Oh,
to birthing, like just this next chapter of their lives. And so I feel like so confident going in. I'm like, I was trained by Haize. Like, I know you don't know how this is gonna like unfold for you, because we've got you.
yeah.
Because it's not just me, it's we, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
there's a team
Mm-hmm.
that has you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's just been,
Yeah, for me, I mean, there were so many reasons why I decided to start training doulas in 2020. One was because there was a labor shortage. There wasn't enough. Everybody was shooting over to home births, and there was not enough postpartum doulas, labor doulas, lactation consultants couldn't get to enough people at a given time. And I just thought, this is not good. We need more doulas. And especially because that we got more information about the disparities and the numbers, and that is something that I was aware of, but it increased during the pandemic. Even though we brought attention to it, even though it just kept escalating. So I knew that I wanted to do this training. I knew that I wanted to give people the support that was lacking when I was having my children. And literally, when I started the childbirth education class with Bliss, Innate Journey, we put in everything that was missing for us, that we knew we needed, and that we can turn around, hindsight 2020, we could see exactly what was missing and what to do. And so all of that is, now I use that in my practice, and I use it with my clients. And I do believe that it's important to have mentorship all the way through, because I had to figure out a lot of this by myself. I did a training called Alice, which was extensive training. It's no longer around. So I had a really nice foundation, but the business aspect and all the stuff around it, I had to figure it out. And if I wanted to sit at somebody's feet to get some more knowledge, I had to make that happen myself. So it's important to me that I am able to support you guys. The other day, gosh, I can't remember who it was now. She called me up because she wanted me to speak to her client, and she wanted to be a part of that. There was a lot of fear running through her client, and so we just got on there together, and we, it did it for an hour, and it helped them so much. It helped her client, it helped her, and she shifted this fear and this energy into an excitement and an exploration, and that was great. That's what I really wanted to see happen, and it happened right in front of me.
Well, but
If
that's
I, huh?
what in class is we got to sit there and see these. We were so lucky to have little like insights and like snippets into phone conversations, that we were able to learn how you handled these situations firsthand.
Yeah.
And there was nothing more powerful than that. And it was with clients, but it was also with other classmates. I mean, there were some really powerful moments that happened during that class. I learned so much, not only about this work, but just how to be a better human.
Yeah. How to help people process,
Yeah, how to be there and
how to be active in your listening.
and, and how to just allow, how to allow
Mm-hmm.
space and how to sit in discomfort. There was one experience in particular in the class that like I feel like it changed my life. It was just
Mm.
one of the students, was expressing the pain of her story, and she became overwhelmed with emotion, and you asked all of us to be silent. And so we sat there in the silence, and silence and discomfort, they can sometimes seem really long. And so we're sitting there and holding this space for this beautiful person who was so vulnerable in that moment. And someone else wanted to step in and speak because it was uncomfortable to hear that silence. And you were just like, no, no, like, absolutely not. Not share, not right now. Like, shut it. Your time. This is not your space. And then you asked Oni to join in with you in song. And my God, like I still think about that moment. I don't even know. I mean, it was more than a year ago, and it
Mm-hmm.
still so deeply impacts me because that was the medicine that you brought to that moment was such a teachable moment for me of it's not about me interjecting and fixing someone's discomfort. Like that's not what anybody wants or needs. It doesn't help
Mm-hmm.
doing that. It's
Mm-hmm.
allowing the space and waiting to feel like what's the next move, it, it's not about you being like,
Yeah.
I'm a good white woman and I'm going to step in and let you guys know, like, hey, like, I really want to make this better. Like, here's what I can offer and all this stuff. And it's like, it's not about that. It's not about me. And, I think a lot of 2020, it's been really easy to say, like, I'm just listening. I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm sitting back. But like, what does that look like in action?
Mm-hmm.
And there were some really powerful teachable moments in our class that I really got to see what that means.
Yeah.
And it shifted so much for me inside of how I can move forward and like understanding that I still want to show up in a way, but I'm not going to be the best person to hold that space for a lot of people because that's not my specific medicine, but I know there's a lot of people that do it a lot better. And those are the people that I want to make sure get in contact with the person that needs it.
Exactly. We're just going to always be pushing someone forward
Yeah.
to the best of their ability. We have a question here. that Kelly Curry, I hope she's still on. I didn't notice when the question came in. She's asking, has there been research done on the connection between progesterone and estrogen and its impact on serotonin levels? Now, for me, I'm not aware. I mean, I know there's been some things done, but this very specific question, I'm not aware of. And I'm going to try and find out. And if anybody knows in the chat, go ahead and share that with us. But Kelly, we're going to have to like explore that one. I know that there is a natural understanding of why women go into labor in the evening because of the natural raising of serotonin levels at night. But I'm not sure how it pairs in conjunction with progesterone, like how that plays off. I have to check into that.
That's so interesting.
It's a good question.
You just never stop learning, right? It's so cool. Like questions like that. Oh, that is so interesting. Imagine what that would bring up.
Right? I'm gonna like write that down so I can get to it. Would you share with people, because it's almost time to wrap up, I just want people to know what you're up to, the name of your business, where they can find you, all the things.
My business is called Magic Birth Transformational Services. You know, even longer than that, for pregnancy, birth, and postpartum and beyond. I offer art therapy, Reiki, doula work, whether that's somebody wanting me at their birth or preparing them for the entire process, postpartum doula work, you know, doing tarot from the perspective through birth, helping people in pregnancy. I think tarot is so interesting because it really like gets to the root of the subconscious of what a lot of us don't want to think about, or maybe don't want to admit. And so I think that's a really powerful tool just in pregnancy as it is. So I still offer my tarot readings specifically to pregnant people that maybe feel like they have some blocks that they want to push past and they want to go deeper in.
Is it tarot or oracle or both?
It's tarot. Tarot is something
I can see that.
However, you know, big long-term plans, and this was something that was so cool about doing, you know, as we got into the business side of your trainings, is the future projection for me and like what I see myself doing. And a lot, I love and think I will probably always continue to be in the birthing space because that's something that's just so powerful to me, and will teach me so much as well as serving others. But art is my passion, and it's always been a goal of mine. I love writing, and I've always wanted to write a book. And years ago, I decided right after I just found out I wasn't pregnant. It was a really challenging journey. And that day I was in this like small business like cohort, and we had to say what we were working on. I thought I was pregnant. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do all this mom stuff and, you know, parenting. And that was kind of my vision. And then it like gutted that day. And I was like, I'm going to make an oracle deck because it combines my writing in the way that I want to write, and then I get to design it. And then I'm super into mythological studies. Like that's a huge component to me, and doing it through the lens of birth is something that's a huge plan of mine, like a huge passion project that it all clicked while I was in the class. And it was too crazy because that had been like 4 years prior, you know. Wow. And so it was like, oh my gosh, I put that on the back burner because it didn't feel right. And now all these pieces are lining up and it all makes sense. And it's something that I like to say I'm giving it 10 years. It could happen in 1, it could happen in 2. If you ask me next year, it will still be 10 years. Every year, it will still continue to be 10 years. That just gives me it lowers my anxiety. I don't have any pressure on myself with time. But that's something that I feel like as I get to know birth more and more, and as I get deeper into this work, is something that I'm really looking forward to taking my expertise and the expertise that I gather from my mentors, from the people that I'm always learning from, and to be able to put something together that helps people while they're in the birthing space, preparing for birth, to understand how to go through that and how to go deeper in a really fun way, because I love Oracle decks. I love tarot. It's fun to me. So
Yeah.
That's a big part of what I do. So my website is magicbirth.com, and that's MAGICK birth.com. And because I'm really into like the mysticism and mystical side of life, I really do believe that there's so much magic to be had
Yes, I agree.
in this world. And it's all, I think that's one thing I really love about you, Haize. Like, you know, listening to your conversation with Sarah Ferguson this morning, you know, like birth work is political work. You can't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be, you have to go hard for those that need it the most, period. And you are the best at going hard for absolutely everybody. You're just incredible.
Thank
But
you.
beyond that, you're a shining light who you stand in your truth, which you're just so rooted in love and compassion and strength and power, that whatever's going on in the world, we all know where you are. We all know what you stand for, who you are, and that's what this world needs a lot of, you know. We need people that are really willing to like toe the line of this work and staying really connected and centered in love, in compassion and kindness. That's I saw you do it on so many different occasions of how you just approach everything from a heart-centered space. And, you know, it's changed my life of just like, if there's discomfort, if there's tension, if there's a disagreement, checking myself, am I coming from a heart-centered space on this?
Yeah.
Are you coming from a heart-centered space on this? Like, that's, if we can all come from that, like, you can connect again, start anew. And that's what you have to do constantly, over and over and over again, throughout the process of birthing, throughout the process of parenting. So
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
I'm just grateful. I just want to see your face like all the time.
Thank you, love. I appreciate it, Kayla. On Instagram, she is Magic Mama with a
Magic.
K.
I've got my business account that I haven't put a whole lot of energy into recently, but I'm getting back into it, which is Magic Birth. But Magic Mom is how you find me. And I talk a whole lot about the realness of life as a parent, and what it, you know, all the ups and downs. I'm pretty transparent about everything, and I love to do that, and I will keep doing that, and continue to keep diving into this work. And just, it's powerful work. It's not easy work, and it's a choice to show up in it. And I'm really, really grateful for everything that you instilled in me.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Forever.
I love you in this field. I love you in this energy. You're gonna be powerful, and I'm so happy on your direction.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
happier than I am, because I'm so grateful. I can't put into words what you've done for my life, and what I've seen you do for other people. You are an absolute gift to this world, and that's, you are like the epitome of a doula. You know, you just you like, in the dictionary, if anyone can ever define what a doula exactly is, it's you.
It's a lot of different people. You just happen to have seen me close up.
But you embody it in everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, morning, noon, and night. I've seen you through it all. You're still.
You have.
You really, really are incredible. And I just want, you know, it's World Doula Week, and none of us would really be here without you. You know, I wouldn't. So I love you, and I hope that there's no one I would recommend training with than with you. I hope that you keep doing your training.
Thank you. I think I'm going to definitely continue it. I love teaching. Who knew? I love it. I love teaching my childbirth education classes. I love training doulas, and all the different perspectives, and then helping everybody find their thing within the doulaship. I just, it's the best thing ever.
And
I will always do it. I want to keep it going.
I appreciate you. You're so good at it. You're unlike anyone else on this planet. And it's been such an honor to get to say that I learned from you, and that's where my training was from, because you're so well respected in this community because of who you've shown up as over all these years. That to say that you're who I trained with is like, okay, like you might be new, but like, I don't know. I have a feeling something's going to be different. You know, it's like, I don't have the experience of having a ton of births under my belt, but I do have the experience of getting to have been trained under you.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you. And I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I can't wait for you to get down here.
I'm coming. I definitely come. I'm going to see you and Tora. We're going to hang out. It's going to be good. And just relax. I need to relax.
You just got to carve out some time for yourself.
I do. It's coming. It's coming. I hope that you are around with your Magic Zion, because Christian's next.
Yay. I will totally tune in.
Okay, very cool. Thank you, my darling. You have a beautiful evening. Thank you all for joining us.
Appreciate
it. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, love. I don't know if she's going to join in on this one. You might as well. Want to send me a request, love? We can do that.
I was gonna say, how can I get? Do you not me this, or do I?
Oh, do you want to? You can drop out if you want to, and I can add her in.
Yeah, I'll give Christian's time now. You know.
Okay.
And that's
absolutely okay. Maybe she's waiting for me to get her. I love you, darling. Thank you.
Love you.
Okay, let me invite Christian. Magic Mama left. Who knew? You know, this whole... Oh, there she is. Okay. There we go. You have to be savvy with this stuff. It's just kind of like, I'm getting a hard course in how you do these Instagram live interviews. Okay, is she coming? I invited you, my love. Mm-hmm. Where are you, sweetheart? Okay, maybe I will try her again. Let's see. I don't know if it'll let me do it once I've done it once.
Hello.
Well, there she is.
Good morning.
Krista.
Good morning.
Good morning, darling. You know it's my morning. I'm like, how many births have you had this week?
None.
None?
Yay.
Ooh, look at you.
I'm on call, though.
Yeah, I know you are. I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much for being here and for showing up for World Doula Week.
Yay, I'm excited.
And you are you have a very great reputation in the community, and I've reached out to you to support some of my clients, to back up, to do all the things, because I know the integrity that you have with your work, and I know what you bring, and I just wanted everybody else to know.
Yeah.
Would you share how you got into this, how you trained, what you see for yourself, what your future is looking like, and what events you've got coming up?
Okay. Okay. The how I got into this story is super interesting, because what I thought was me just taking a training and just, oh, I'm going to do this because I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Into as I have like traveled in this journey of being a doula is learning about I think when you do this job right, there's a lot of looking within,
Oh
right?
yeah.
There's a lot of looking within. There's a lot of looking at your ancestry because when you get frustrated at some of these births, you be like, why am I here? No, really, what am I doing here? And and it comes down to it was an inheritance. It was given to me, right? All of the women in my family, and I was raised by women, not very many men around.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, all successful business women, but all of their business is centered around helping women and children.
Yeah, you grew up in that.
I grew up in,
All about community.
yeah.
I
So
think
like
when I first came over, there was like a
tons of
gang
people.
of people.
My mom has a daycare, right? So it's kids in the yard. There's always something. And so where I thought, oh, I'm gonna just be a doula, and I was like, oh, okay. I realized that this is just the capacity in which the women in my family we support our community.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come from midwives or anything, and I think I might, but I'm not really sure because I haven't done a lot. But it's just we take care of the people. We take care of the people. So I was my mom's doula. So I have a sibling who's 19.
You wait. You were your mom's doula?
Mom's doula. Didn't even realize it, right? Didn't know. But I was there with her. It was me and her in the hospital. She was having contractions, and I was helping her have my sister.
I love everything about this story.
Right? Like I can remember to this day, I remember her water breaking. I remember as soon as her water broke, she was ready to go. And it was crazy watching my mom birth because let me tell you, she slept most of the thing, and she never had any pain meds for hours, like laying in the bed.
Wow.
Hospital, sleep. And then she woke up out of her sleep and was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I was okay, well, let me help you go to the bathroom. Girl, I'm getting her up out the bed. I walk her to the bathroom. Her water breaks. And then immediately she's like, oh my God, I need the epidural. Like, oh my God, I need the epidural. Tell them to bring me an epidural right now. And I was like, okay, right. I'm running down the hospital hallway. I'm 17, okay? And I'm like, my mom needs an epidural. My mom needs an epidural. And the nurses are like, girl, your mama been asleep this entire time. Ain't nothing been wrong with her. Like, we trying to figure out if she really having a baby. And they come in and they're like, oh, no, you don't need an epidural. You about to have a baby. Back then, 19 years ago, they wheeled you to a birthing room like an OR to have a baby vaginally, right? It was not in the room like we are accustomed to,
like now,
right? Right. So get her on the bed, put her on another bed, and wheel her to another room. And my sister was born in like 4 pushes. It was so wild.
Wow.
It was so wild. So I've been doing this my entire life.
You have.
Because after my mom, then my friends, all of my friends who had babies at 19, 18, 20, and 21, I had my own apartment. I was like Miss Responsible. Their parents was like putting them out the house. You pregnant? No, you can't be here. They were laboring in my living room.
See, okay, we need to stop because this is exactly what community work is, to lift them up. And oh my gosh. Okay, just think about the mental health of these women who got kicked out of their house because they were so young.
Yep.
You provided them a safe place, a place to process, a place to own their grief, their sorrow, to mourn their relationship with their parent at that moment. This, because not everybody can afford, to go someplace to process that.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that that's a real thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Especially when you're young, right? Young,
Yeah.
well, you 19 and 20 and 20. That's a still vulnerable age. And
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, legally you're grown, but it's still a vulnerable age. And to have like your foundation of family swept off from under you because of a so-called mistake.
Yeah,
Um,
that could be like a very deep emotional break, like a thing that is hard to recover from.
Absolutely. I mean, like I would say one of the women who was one of my really good friends, her mom was super harsh,
Mm.
super, and so she had to live with me. I would go to work. It was crazy. I was like, "This is my girlfriend at my house. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you stay
Mm-hmm.
here, eat up the food, be pregnant. I'm gonna go to work, and I'll see you in a couple hours." And that's just kind of like how it went. And so all of my friends, all of my life have always been whatever, like they're just like what medical needs they might be. They're like, let's go find Christian. Let's ask her.
So let me ask you, Christian, because that's a lot. You're 17, and then as you grow up, but you're still, I mean, that's a young age to have such a huge responsibility
Mm-hmm.
and to go through. I know you had a lot of challenges to go through and losses and things. Who did you go to for your mental wellness, your okay, safe space?
During then,
Mm-hmm.
nobody. Uh,
Mm.
I would say my life in terms of just I have those things now, right? And
Mm-hmm. We all
when
do, thank goodness.
right when I became a trained doula, I acquired community
Mm-hmm.
because before then it was like, oh, I don't know what this is anyway. All I'm doing is helping a friend. Um, I would say probably around then the only person I could talk to was my mom. Mom, such and such's mom put her out, and she's like, "Oh my God, oh, you can let her stay with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because that's what my mom does already anyway, right? My mom's daycare is 24 hours,
Yeah.
and then her parents are also like need whatever she. It's like she has a woman's home and a
Mm-hmm.
daycare time because she is. So like it was always that was the only person that I could go to and be like, "Mom, I don't know." You know, and honestly, the labor stuff was probably the easiest part. The
Mm-hmm.
stuff was, the hard stuff was she got you're getting put out, or your mom is just not great, or I had a friend at 19 have a C-section, and what does that look like for kids, right? When
Wow.
your friend has to go in for major surgery, or um whatever, baby daddy problems. That's the hard stuff. That's the hard stuff. The easy stuff is going to that's easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest. The mental, it's the helping you get there. It's helping you work out whatever your problem. So you kind of become and I think you know this, like a dumping ground if you
Mm-hmm.
allow it.
If you allow it.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I if you allow it, I definitely would say my boundaries a lot tighter these days because I'm grown. But then it was just my mom. That was it. It was I only had my mom.
Yeah.
That was all the only person I could complain
Oh,
to.
you complain to.
That's the only person I could complain to. Like I didn't have the resources to be like, and I don't even think I even knew the magnitude of what was happening.
Mm.
Very much on par for the course. It was like, oh, this happens. Girls get pregnant at 19. They mamas
Mm-hmm.
put them out. Either they're on the street or you're thank God that you have a friend like me. And so you're not on the street.
Right. You're
So that was
providing.
what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was just what it was.
Mm-hmm. You know, I really, when I see, so when I guess not when I started, because I've been doing this for a very long time, like 20 years or something, started off as a postpartum doula. And I saw how there was a lack of education for a lot of our people, our culture, they didn't get the education around women's wellness, around, you know, owning and taking care of their moon time, around birthing, period. And so that became important to me, and I would just kind of do it. I would try to find places, you know, where I could just set it up and just do it. I would go to parks with some friends, and we would just start talking. All this, you know, just out of nothing, we would just do whatever we needed to do. For everything from finding a young single mom a place to live,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we were doing that too, you know, and bringing food, whatever we needed to do. But it is about, you know, community. It is about supporting them until they can support themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. Holding them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's literally what it is, and that's what it's been. As when I became a trained doula, my first client was a 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, it was like super comfortable, but kind of like, oh, I know how to do this. Like I was like, I can do this because I was a kid with my friends who we were kids having,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's probably when I think I started advocating for my clients right away. Like all that, don't advocate for your clients. I was like, no,
Oh,
no.
well, that was that situation. They're really young. They don't have anybody who's
I walked into the hospital, crazy enough, California hospital again,
okay.
and they were like, oh, we're thinking about giving a C-section. I said, to a 15-year-old? What? Why can't she push the baby out? She's 15, y'all. Like, what is going on? And thank goodness I showed up, because then she pushed the baby out not even an hour, 2 hours later. But it was like, yeah, we're thinking about giving her a C-section. I'm like,
What did they say that they were going to give a C-section? Did they say to you why?
no, because she had been laboring for a long time.
Yeah.
But it hurt her. But I'm like, she's 15. She probably came
Right.
out a couple times. You know what I'm saying? And there was a major language barrier because only she spoke English. Her mother did not.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it was like, no.
That's why, girl, I mean, I've learned, I'm not fluent in Spanish. I understand more than I speak, but
Same.
I know the word, I know how to say push, what do you need? How can I help you stop? Don't touch, she doesn't want, I can say the things that I need to say to keep that safety. You know, I'm just looking at the,
Yeah. It's wild. It's like the wild, wild
it's like the wild, wild west. And
west.
becoming more so. Let me ask you, love, what do you think, or what do you feel is one of the things that you bring to the craft of being a doula, of doulaship? What do you think is unique to you that you provide in the space?
I think that I feel like I'm very balanced. So I think I provide a more balanced approach out of all of it. And definitely a lot of the educational pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, like up here,
She does bring the sauce.
I'm like,
She does, Darian. She does bring the sauce. She is so, and the humor and the intellect. It's like a perfect combination.
yes.
It's true.
So I like feel like I'm not too woo woo, but I'm also not too like, you need to do
Right.
this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
middle, like we can do a little. You want to pray? That's cool. We can, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
at some point, though, I do end up being
Yep.
coach Christian, but
Mm-hmm.
and I
Coach
always tell
Christian.
a Christian for a long time.
And it's
And
all surrounded and supported by your sense of humor, which is
oh God, I crack jokes all day.
everything. Yes, you do. I live for it. I love it. You can make a long day real short.
I mean, like I can't. I mean, I don't know how not to. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, I would say it's just the being